Of course, most of us really don't want to be in fat storage mode. We have plenty of fat on our body, and we are certainly not interested in getting any more. So I'm sure that you would like to know how we get out of it. So once you understand why we're in it, which is these cues from the environment, we do have ways of getting out of it. And the skills of eating are really, really helpful, because what they start to do is address some of the main hormones that hold you in fat storage mode and lock down your fat stores so they're not released and not available to be burned. And the main hormone that does that is going to be insulin, and another hormone that is secreted by your fat cells called leptin also plays a large role in that. So we can start to follow some guidelines that really give us an opportunity to retrain our fat cells, make them healthier and more responsive and more willing to release fat. If you have carried extra fat for a long time, and if the fats that you've eaten in your diet are of an inflammatory type, so a lot of the vegetable oils that we have, the new industrial oils, they cause people to have a lot of inflammation. So your fat and your fat cells can be inflamed. And when they're inflamed, they sort of get sticky and they stick together, and they don't release fat quite as easily. So there's a certain process. It doesn't just turn on and off. The body's all in balance. It's going to be looking at everything. And the whole point is that we're needing to get to wellness. Now, over and over, I will keep telling you that fat storage mode is insurance for an unpredictable future. We tend to think of insurance like health insurance. I have health insurance or I don't have health insurance. There is no such thing that can be provided by your government or your paycheck called health insurance. That is help insurance in case you become ill. That's money to have medical treatment. Health insurance is things that are in your body that you need to work on to make sure that you maintain your own wellness so that you're less likely to get ill. So fat storage mode is health insurance, not a certificate or a card that you can take into the emergency room. We call that health insurance, but there isn't anything that you can buy that will give you health. You have to change your behavior to get health. And the first thing that we need to do to help our body get out of fat storage mode and into fat releasing mode is to increase our wellness by eating real food and not industrially processed food. These, when I say vegetable oils that can get and make your cells sticky and fat, sugar, make your cells sticky and fat, make the fat inflamed, what I'm really talking about for the most part is processed food. So we have increasingly put sugar and fat, most often in the form of soybean oil, into this food so that it tastes better and feels better in our mouth, and it can trick our brain that it is real food. It's really not real food. It's a food facsimile. So the first way to get your fat improved to be released so that you can go into fat burning mode is to start eating real food. Then we need to really talk about what types of food that you're eating and when you're eating so that we can control the insulin secretion. Because when insulin is present in the bloodstream, then the fat is going to have first choice. So if you've been fat for a while or had extra fat storage, then your cells are probably insulin resistant, a little bit insulin resistant, which means that they aren't willing to let insulin do its work. They're putting the hand up and won't let insulin do its job. The fat cells are the last ones to do that. They're always very accommodating, so as long as insulin is around, the fat cells will take in more fat. And so we need to work backwards. We need to reverse engineer. So let's go to the fat first and make the fat more willing to give up their fat stores. And we need to get insulin down because insulin also contributes to that inflammation. And we need to get leptin report, which is the inventory that your brain understands of what's the current fat status in the body. When you get in metabolic disarray from your insulin being out, from being in fat storage mode for too long, the leptin report gets goofed up. So there is a report, but the brain isn't responding to the right one. It's inaccurate. It's saying that fat stores are low when they're actually very, very high because this sick fat doesn't really respond. So it's like everybody goes, fat cells here, 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 and the sick inflamed fat cells, they just stay home in bed. And because they don't report in, the brain thinks that there's not enough fat. So it's a hard thing to face. I know you just like to get rid of your fat, maybe like take a butter knife or something and just scrape it off your body, but it just doesn't work that way. We live in our body, and to have health, you have to have wellness. You can't hate your fat, it's part of you. You need to use your fat because it's fuel, and it needs to be used up because it's that inventory, and then you can be in better balance for the future. So let's go about some of those ways that we can do this and release fat, burn fat, and get out of fat storage mode in perpetuity. And then we'll be able to manage our weight for life.